Buenos dias, Vespa amigos. How's it going? This is Steve from Scooter West. We sell a ton of Faco windshields for all the Vespa scooters at our website and at our brick and mortar location in San Diego. There's a lot of questions. People get sometimes a little confused on how to basically pre-assemble any of their Faco windshields, whether it be for the small frame Vespas, the Vespa S, the Vespa ET, the LX, the LXV, or whether it's going on a large frame Vespa from a Vespa GT, the GT200, the GTS 250-300, Super 250-300, or even the GTVs. So what we're going to kind of show you is we've got a Faco windshield. We're going to basically show you how to kind of pre-assemble it in order to install it on a scooter. This is going to be accurate for just about, 85 to 90% of the Faco windshields that are offered. But we're going to kind of go over step by step how you kind of prep the windshield and basically get it ready to install. So the first thing you'll notice is we've got our windshield and we've got our hardware kit. We've already kind of gone ahead and assembled the one side, and we're going to show you the last half of the hardware. So essentially, Scott will kind of zoom in nice and tight here. On the back side of the windshield, we've basically got these plastic bushings that are pretty obvious. The actual windshield rod passes through those. So there's one on the top, one on the bottom on each side. So that's a hard plastic thing that has a threaded boss from the front side. You notice there's a rubber washer that is size specific to fit on that side. So there's top and bottom. Again, this is just the one side. Now we'll actually go ahead and turn the thing around and show it to the front. So on the front, there's a special rubber spacer that goes between all the hardware in the windshield. There's a special decorative chrome button fastener that goes, and then there's actually a special little kind of hard plastic Allen bolt that passes through and essentially threads through that. So what I'm going to show you here is actually the assembly of this without the windshield in the way, so you can kind of see. So this is on the back side of the windshield. So we've got the smaller rubber spacer washer, the hard plastic bushing or whatever the heck you want to call it. Then we basically got the special bolt, the decorative chrome washer, and the larger of the two rubber washers that goes through from the front of the windshield. So from the front and from the back, those would basically pass directly through. And what we would normally do is we would kind of just get this bolt just started, just that much, just enough to kind of hold everything in place. That's all you have to do for the time being. Then what we've done is we've actually gone and assembled the lower portion of the expansion fitting that actually fits in the lower portion. This expansion fitting basically represents the male, and it slips and telescopes into the female, which is present on all the modern Vespa scooters. But what you see here is you've got the downward rod, and do pay attention. These downward rods are side specific, so there's specifically a left and a right. The general rule of thumb is the rod comes down and then wraps towards the inside, with the cylinder being on the inside of the rod. So we've got this set up so it's going to slip onto the front of the windshield. So you'll notice this is the right-hand side, and you'll notice that rod comes down and around. The left-hand side would do the exact opposite. Can't tell you how many times we've gotten calls from people on the phone that need tech support, and they're like, oh man, the windshield's installed, but it does not line up and it's all twisted. If you could imagine, if you had those inverted, you'd basically be putting so much pressure on the windshield when you went to install it, that you'd be essentially stretching it flat. Not sure if that makes sense. Probably if you kind of had everything in front of you and were kind of fighting it, or stuff just literally wasn't aligning or was off by an inch, that would be the explanation. So again, we kind of touched on those things being side specific, and then we were leading into the assembly of the way the expansion thing goes. You'll see there's a long bolt and a large lock washer. The lock washer goes at the head of the bolt. The bolt passes through the actual long cylindrical sleeve. There's a special ramp plate that goes on next. And then for any of the construction guys out there, they'll see this thing and go like, wait a second, that's like a concrete anchor. That's essentially what it is. They're actually a special one that's made over in Europe. I think Faco outsources these, but everything's metric on them, so they are very specific. So we do actually sell those as a replacement part in the event that you ever need one. But you'll notice it's basically got a threaded conical sleeve. So essentially, as you tighten that bolt and drag this thing in, this end, this cone pulls down, this expansion fitting expands, and it expands on this front cone. One other tip we give you, and this is something that our mechanics have taught me, is you can actually take this rubber cap. It's a good idea to kind of pop that out and just discard it before you assemble anything. The thing about that cap is eventually those caps will pop off and they'll actually fall down inside the steering column. And we've had a few instances where they've fallen down and gotten lodged in the actuation of the glove box, and the glove box wouldn't open. So it's a good general rule of thumb. Just take those red caps, pop them out, and don't install them. And then essentially, the only tool you'll really need is you'll need a small hammer, because you actually have to drift these in to a certain degree. So once the windshield is lined up, you'll want to tap on this, because essentially you want to kind of compress those special tangs, and that'll initially lock this in place, so you can kind of go with a pretty large size Allen head wrench, or whatever you call those things. Socket, sorry, it's late. And actually thread that down, and that'll basically draw this cap in, and it'll cause this fitting to expand. But in a nutshell, that's basically the pre-assembly in order to install any Faco windshield on any modern Vespa application. So, I guess kind of finish everything. In the event that this was basically pre-assembled and ready to go, you would kind of kneel down on the front of the scooter. This one's already got one installed, so you'll see where it goes. But on the front of any Vespa, if you get down on your hands and knees and kind of look up at an angle, you'll see the plastic is notched out from the factory. And inside that notch, there's a metal female sleeve that's, welded to the handlebars. And it's specifically designed to be the receiving end of windshields just like this. So that's it. Thanks for all the business over the years. This is the pre-assembly of any Faco windshield on a modern Vespa. Thanks for watching. Love Scooter West.